President Biden traveled last week to Las Vegas because one way or another, he's getting that money for Ukraine.
Yes, he's going to Las Vegas to gamble to get the money for Ukraine. It's not Ukraine, it's Ukraine. Like YouTube. It's kind of like YouTube and Ukraine. That's right, Vladimir Zelensky is in Washington today. He's up on Capitol Hill. He's walking around on the Senate side, flanked by the Lizard King, Chuck Schumer, and the Turtle, Mitch McConnell. They have animal characters up there leading the parties. That's kind of strange, I think. Well. Happy Tuesday and welcome back. We remain at 888-630-9625. 888-630-9625 is the telephone number here. And we're having a good old time because we've got some Joe Biden audio for you of Joe Biden being Joe Biden. We've got some Kamala Harris audio for you of her trying to be Kamala Harris. But she's interrupted and heckled and shouted down by the first elected Muslim to serve in the Delaware State House of Representatives, to ever be elected to the Delaware State House. And her name is Medina, and she shouted down Kamala Harris yesterday while she was trying to be incoherent. Tripped her up. For a moment, she was actually coherent, because that's what might happen. Extraordinary stuff. And I've got that for you because whack-a-doodle-doo. And your Biden, he's not good with math and numbers and things like that. Once again, I've got today's edition of Joe Biden ain't no math. He ain't know nothing about math. Pretty amazing stuff. Yes, it is. And we've got the Biden White House refused to invite the Jewish families of American Jews that are being held hostage by Hamas in the Gaza. They were having their Hanukkah festival, and the families said, hey, listen, our family members are being held hostage. Perhaps it would be appropriate to have us there. And not only did the White House, the Biden White House of Democrats, not invite the Jewish family members, they didn't even respond to their requests because they're Democrats. And you know how that is. Also, Barack Obama is a big-time movie producer. You know that he's already got an Oscar? Did you know that? He's got an Oscar. He and I think Michelle, too, they have an Oscar. They have Grammys. They have everything. They got every award that left-wingers can give you. He's got a Nobel Peace Prize, and they bombed more countries than any president since World War II. It's good to be a Democrat. Jamie Raskin gets a little slap around, gets straightened out by Elise Stefanik, and that's fun stuff. That's good. And I was just talking about the radical left-wing Board of Supervisors member, that is to say city councilman in San Francisco, California, where the San Francisco treat used to be rice-a-roni. Now it's a pyramid-shaped human dropping with someone lying face down in it on the sidewalk with a syringe in their arm and vomiting all over the place. You know, Democrat city stuff. So we got that. We got that going. And speaking of Democrats, this is pretty wild, too. There was an arrest. We just found out about it yesterday. The arrest actually happened on Saturday, but our government, they don't work for us anymore. Now the state works for the state. But here's the headline in the Daily Caller. The Daily Caller, quote, blow his brains out, end quote. New Hampshire man, who is a Democrat, arrested for allegedly threatening to kill Vivek Ramaswamy. That's right, Vivek Ramaswamy. They sent out text messages. This is a big thing now, that blanket an area and say, hey, Vivek Ramaswamy is having a political event in your area. Perhaps you'd like to attend. Well, this gentleman wanted to attend, but only to murder people and then rape their corpses. That's what he said, because the Democrat Party isn't what it used to be. Police arrested a man from Dover, New Hampshire, for allegedly threatening to kill GOP presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy. Tyler Anderson, 30, was arrested and charged with the crime. This is the name of the crime: transmitting in interstate commerce a threat to injure a person of another. I'm sorry, what? That's must have been written long ago. After allegedly texting out threats to kill Vivek Ramaswamy to his campaign. See, his campaign sent out the mass text, the text blast, right, to the area. And he responded to the text message. And you'll never guess what he said. Now, the press release from the District of New Hampshire U.S. Attorney's Office said that Anderson allegedly sent the threat when he replied to a text message sent to the masses by Ramaswamy's campaign, which informed residents in the key battleground state about an upcoming political event set to take place in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. That's what the release said. Now, he sent out a nice thing. And then the guy responded because he's a Democrat. Anderson allegedly answered the text on Friday with, quote, "Great, another opportunity for me to blow his brains out. I'm going to kill everyone who attends and then beep their corpses." And he used an F word there that I can't use here because of George Carlin's rules. So said he's going to beep their corpses. I guess they love Hamas. And the Hamas, they got that whole Hamas thing going on with the murder and the rape and the dismemberment and stuff. And the Democrats are going around chanting the Hamas chants. And he's going to not only blow his brains out, I'm going to kill everyone who attends and then F their corpses, because that's what Democrats say. That's what Democrats do, given the opportunity. Anderson also has a history of allegedly threatening other people, you see, according to court documents obtained by WMUR. That's probably a panhandler station. He allegedly threatened a different unnamed candidate in the past while responding to a notification about an upcoming event, WMUR reported. In the alleged first incident, Anderson allegedly wrote back, quote, "Fantastic. Now I know where to go so I can blow that beep's head off." He's quite consistent. It's kind of the same thread, and he's cursing, using offensive language. Maybe he didn't have a mother. Maybe that was his problem. He probably needs housing paid for by the taxpayers. Not really. He's sending it on his iPhone or whatever. Investigators added that he followed up by saying he hoped you have the stamina for a mass shooting to the unnamed campaign text. And that's according to documents obtained by WMUR. The Federal Bureau of Investigation, sometimes known as the FBI, was behind the investigation into the most recent alleged threat against Ramaswamy. Now, why didn't they do something about him the first time he was threatening to murder? Did they? And then he's just fine. They let him go because it's all in the party, all in the Democrat Party. So that's your Democrat Party. There it is. Vivek Ramaswamy responded very politely. The campaign did and everything. So Anderson, the would-be mass murderer and necrophiliac. That's right, necrophiliac. He'd be a necrophiliac? Yes, that's it. He's an aspiring, they should call him an aspiring necrophiliac, because that's what he said he wanted to do after murdering everybody at the rally. Anderson is reportedly poised to make his initial court appearance yesterday afternoon. If convicted, Anderson could face up to 5 years in federal prison. What about the first time? I guess the FBI just let him go because he's threatening an unnamed, I'm guessing, Republican. Since he's threatening, and do you think maybe it was Trump? It might have been Trump. That might be the reason that they don't want to say. But it was definitely, he's not going to threaten a Democrat that way and then threaten Vivek Ramaswamy that way. So he could face up to 5 years in prison, but probably won't. He may get a job on the Biden campaign instead. As much as 3 years of supervised release after his 5 years in prison and a $250,000 fine. Democrats would pull together a GoFundMe page to help him pay that off, wouldn't they? Yes, they would. You know that they would. Your Democrat Party. The Washington Post has a story on it online. I don't know if it's in the hard copy of the paper today, but man charged with threatening to kill GOP candidate Vivek Ramaswamy is in the Washington Post. And they say that a New Hampshire man was arrested and charged in connection with text messages that included death threats aimed at Republican presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy and his campaign event attendees, because he was going to kill everybody there and then sexually assault their dead bodies after he murdered them. There's a lot of this going on with the Democrats, you know. Remember when the Democrats showed up at the Family Research Council with bags full of Chick-fil-A chicken sandwiches, which are delicious? I don't know if he got the waffle cut fries or not. Showed up with a gun and multiple magazines, and he was going to murder everybody there and stuff. That's because he was gay, and he thought that the American Family Research Council were anti-gay. That's what he said. So he showed up to murder everybody. He shot one man. The man he shot beat him up because he was a man. So that's the thing. And, of course, the suicide attacks on Congressman Steve Scalise and police officer suicide attacks on Capitol Hill, U.S. Capitol Police Officer Billy Evans, and in New York, a suicide attack by Democrat murdering officers Ramos and Liu, whipped into an anti-police frenzy by Barack Obama. Then he shot himself in the head at a subway stop nearby. Then the suicide attack on police in Dallas, Texas, a mass murder of police officers at a Black Lives Matter rally. Then the mass murder and suicide attack on police in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Your Democrat Party. That's your Democrat Party. Somehow the news media doesn't cover that and doesn't point out all of the suicide attacks. And then, of course, the self-immolation at the Supreme Court on Earth Day last year and the self-immolation at Atlanta at the Israeli embassy, the Israeli consulate in Atlanta just days ago. And they still haven't identified the woman that self-immolated. The Democrat Party is not well at all. Telling you, I still want to know the real motive of the psycho killer in Las Vegas, Nevada that shot up the country music concert there and murdered scores of people. But they tell us, oh, he was angry with the casino. Sure, that makes a lot of sense. Right. Great stuff. Yeah, and the Washington Post. The Washington Post did a soft sell on all of this because they say that the Democrat Anderson, when he got the text, responded, "Great, another opportunity for me to blow his brains out. I'm going to kill everyone who attends." And the Washington Post says, and adding a vulgar description of what he would do to the bodies. They just leave it at that because they don't want to be too harsh with your Democrat voters, your Democrat Party voters. Your Democrats, I'm telling you. Yes, sir. All right, I've got Joe Biden coming up because he tried to do math yesterday. He tried to read the teleprompter. It was in the teleprompter, and he still got it wrong. And that's great stuff. And also, he's a victim because he said that many decades ago, he said he was a Zionist and that people were mean to him back then. I got that. And the first Muslim elected to the Delaware State House heckles and disrupts the Kamala Harris event that she was invited to. That's coming up as well. You know, heating bills, thanks to you-know-who, expected to skyrocket again this winter. But a powerful heating technology used by the Eden Pure Gen 40 heater is already helping thousands of people save money on their heating bills, not to mention stay warm in the winter. At Eden Pure, an advanced heating engineering team has combined an infrared heating system and a convective heating system into one single beautiful space heater. These two technologies work together to heat a home better than your current furnace, boiler, baseboard heat, and other space heaters. By using two forms of heating technology to heat a room, the Gen 40 heater by Eden Pure makes you feel warmer and reduces your heating bills. Never be cold again and save money month after month with Eden Pure. Right now, you can get an additional $50 off the Gen 40 sale price with my discount code. Just go to EdenPureDeals.com and enter the code CHRIS50 CHRIS50, CHRIS 50. That's EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is CHRIS50. Save an additional $50 off the sale price. Yes, sir. Yeah, so Joe Biden out there yesterday, kicking around. Screwing up again and again and again. We've got that coming up. And more crazy Democrat stuff, as well as Hunter Biden. The media loves Hunter Biden, and they want to protect him and shield him from, the law. Got that coming up, too. And Barack Obama's terrible movie. I tried to watch it last night. I'm going to give you half a movie review. Hey, it's Chris Plant, excited to tell you about our July 2024 Listener Sea Cruise. We'll be sailing around the British Isles, visiting Scotland and Ireland. Please join us. Visit ChrisPlantCruise.com. The Biden administration is coming for the Second Amendment again because their sons keep shooting people. I think Democrats, there should be a new law. If you're a registered Democrat or if you've ever voted Democrat, you should not be allowed to legally possess a gun, shouldn't be allowed to own a gun. Just saying, because here's the headline from the Fox News Channel and not the Washington Post. NRA, the National Rifle Association, I'm a member. NRA torches Biden administration for plan to change rules for gun buyers, sellers. National Rifle Association lambasted a proposal from the ATF that the gun rights group said would unjustly criminalize Americans for selling a firearm and consequently create serious confusion for legal gun owners who engage in firearm transactions, naturally. The Biden ATF proposed rule, ATF 2022 R-17, they always have charming identifiers for these things, is just another attempt to demolish our Second Amendment rights with the potential to unjustly criminalize everyday Americans for engaging in lawful firearms transactions. NRA ILA Executive Director Randy Kozuch exclusively told Fox News Digital in a statement, this rule blatantly disregards recent NRA-backed Brune ruling on the Second Amendment that's in the Supreme Court. It also creates serious confusion among lawful gun owners who buy and sell firearms legally for various purposes, from collecting to self-defense. Now, the Biden administration is anti-Bill of Rights, and they're anti-Second Amendment. They're anti-First Amendment. They don't like the United States of America. The proposal would expand the definition of dealer to anyone who sells or offers for sale firearms, and also represents to potential buyers or otherwise demonstrates a ability to purchase and sell firearms. It's just another attack on the Second Amendment. It's true, and I apologize. There was a nice person on the line, and because I'm packing and all kinds of stuff here, I didn't get to the nice person on the line who called in to say, hey, Chris, it's your birthday. It's your birthday. And it's true. It's my birthday. Today is my birthday. And I'm partying like Hunter Biden over here. We're going wild. We got more straws over here. You know, we actually jammed a straw into the nostril of a sea turtle just to party with the sea turtle, because we love nature and sea turtles. And so, remember that sea turtle with the straw jammed into its nostril? It caused a revolution. One cocaine-addicted sea turtle led to, bans on straws all over the world. And I think it's all Hunter Biden's fault. But we're partying here like we're Hunter Biden in 1999 in Georgetown with Marion Barry. Lots of stuff. Now, let me share with you a couple of things, because yesterday at the White House, where Joe Biden amazingly is president of the United States, they had a Hanukkah. It's Hanukkah now. Happy Hanukkah to all of our long-suffering Jewish listeners out there. You must not be Democrats. Come on. crazy. But Joe Biden had an event to note the existence of Hanukkah, and they invited people over, but they didn't invite the American families of American hostages being held by Hamas in the Gaza by the terrorists who have the full support of the Democrat Party. So Joe Biden had to come out and walk for the Democrat Party. It's kind of a high wire act. How do we stick with Hamas without offending Jewish voters and donors and so on? Well, that's not an easy one, but leave it to the Democrats. So the New York Post has the story and the Washington Post doesn't. Biden warns, quote, public opinion can shift, end quote, on Israel as White House accused of snubbing hostage families from Hanukkah event. President Biden warned Monday that global public opinion can shift overnight toward Israel and their war in Gaza, as the White House was accused of snubbing family members of hostages held by Hamas from an 800-person Hanukkah celebration at the White House. Several family members of the American citizen hostages missing in Gaza had asked the White House to attend its Hanukkah reception tonight, but did not receive invitations. Now, actually, let's go, because we've got some of this. Let's go to the CNN. Let's go to the CNN people talking about this very topic. They have a reporter named MJ Lee. MJ Lee. MJ Lee was talking to Jake Tapper, who's a former Capitol Hill staffer for the Democrat Party and now CNN anchor, not to be confused with Jim Sciutto, who's a former Obama administration official and now a CNN anchor. Here is CNN reporter MJ Lee last night talking about the families being snubbed by the White House, even though they had approached the White House about attending the event.
This is a Hanukkah reception that the White House is hosting tonight to celebrate the fifth night of Hanukkah, hosted by the president and the First Lady. And what one of the family members of the families that have their family members that are missing in Gaza, still believed to have been abducted by Hamas on October 7th, they told me that they had reached out to the White House because several of the families were in town this week, had asked for an invitation to this event, but that they ultimately did not get invited. The White House did not respond to a request for comment.
They didn't respond to a request for comment by MJ Lee of CNN. And you think that's bad. They didn't respond to the families that had requested an invitation to the Hanukkah event because their family members have been kidnapped by Hamas. And what is Joe Biden doing about that? Well, he's criticizing Israel. He spends all of his time criticizing Israel. MJ Lee at CNN yesterday.
Look, these are family members that are desperately trying to bring attention to the fact that there are still 8 dual American citizens that are still missing, that are still unaccounted for. Obviously, the formal negotiations to get more hostages out, we saw those break down earlier this month. So there are a lot of questions right now, and these families are very desperate for any kind of news, any kind of movement that they are seeing from the White House as well as the Israeli government on how their family members are going to get out.
Hamas said, and I shared this with you yesterday, Hamas said over the weekend that they will kill all of the hostages. I believe 137 hostages will be murdered by the savages if their demands aren't met. They naturally have a long list of demands, including releasing from Israeli jails all of the terrorists and criminals that they have pulled off of the streets. And MJ Lee talking to Jake Tapper, a Monica Lewinsky dating Democrat Party Capitol Hill staffer.
We know that people at the White House watch this show. If they have any questions, reach out to us, and we'll involve MJ, and we'll fix this problem if it can be fixed.
You see, the CNN is there to work with the Democrat Party on fixing their political problems for them if there's anything to be fixed. And that's why you have former Democrat Capitol Hill staffers in powerful positions as anchors at CNN. And he's telling them on television, well, we know they watch down at the White House. Of course they do. And they're in their underwear. They watch CNN. And just call us and we'll fix this. because we're here to fix your problems. Got a political problem? CNN is here to fix it. That's your Democrat Party. Just amazing. Yes, sir. All right, now let's go back to Joe Biden, because Joe Biden, he spoke or tried to speak at the Holocaust event last night, and the Washington Post and the New York Times have swept all of his comical absurdities under the rug for him naturally, and he botched pretty much everything that he was trying to say in the teleprompter, no less. He doesn't know what the difference between years and days now, because he's Joe Biden. So here's Joe. Let's go to soundbite number 1 at the White House last night. Well, we tried to decipher this, that October 7th, yesterday now, that October 7th was 65 days earlier. But Joe Biden confuses days with years again. And, let's just let Joe do it.
But we know this year's Hanukkah is different. It's been 65 years since the deadliest day of the Jewish people since the Holocaust. 65 years.
Twice he says it. 65 years. He means to say 65 days because, let's see, 1945, which would be the end of the Socialist Workers' Party and their Holocaust, that'd be 88 years ago. How many is that? 70. How many is that? No, not 88. It's 78 years ago. Is that what it is? I have to do my gazintas like Jethro Bodine. But 65 years, he says, when he's trying to say 65 days. And it's in the teleprompter. And that's our president. He's the president of the United States. Just amazing. Yes, sir. 83. Yeah. No. But okay. Let's go to Joe Biden number 2. Now he made up a story. He likes making up stories. He makes up all kinds of stories. He claims that 35 years ago, he came out and said, I am a Zionist. I wonder if anybody will fact check him on this. It doesn't matter anyway. He's 35 years ago, I'm a Zionist. And he says the people, not in all over Delaware, but in southern Delaware, caused big trouble for him because he said, I'm a Zionist. And people in the southern United States, too, because Joe Biden, he knows it's the people in the south that are bad, the people that are in the north that are good, just like North Korea versus South Korea, North Vietnam versus South Vietnam. He's on the side of the North, see, but not in the Civil War because he's a Democrat when he was on the side of the South. And he was actually there for it, too. Joe Biden yesterday.
I got in trouble, got criticized very badly by the southern part of my state and some of the southern parts of the country when 35 years ago I said, you don't have to be a Jew to be a Zionist, and I'm a Zionist.
You don't have to be a Jew to be a Zionist, and I'm a Zionist. And he got in big trouble with people in southern Delaware, and in the southern parts of the country, southern parts of the United States, because he said, I'm a Zionist. Apparently it didn't hurt him too much. He kept getting reelected to the Senate again and again. Then he became vice president. Now he's president of the United States. But oh, the suffering. That's pretty amazing. 78 years. 78 years.
I also recognize your hurt from the silence and the fear and for your safety, because the surge of anti-Semitism in the United States of America and around the world is sickening. We see it across our communities in schools and colleges and social media. Silence is complicity. As I said after the attack, my commitment to the safety of the Jewish people and the security of Israel and its right to exist is independent. As an independent Jewish state is unshakable.
I'm sorry, it's what? It's unshakable. And it's all Democrat. Now, I don't think Democrats are responsible for the surge in anti-Semitism all over the world, but they're helping because the anti-Semites around the world see the anti-Semites in the United States gathering by the thousands in Times Square and on college campuses. And by the way, the Harvard board voted to keep Harvard President Claudine Gay in place as president after her Nazi moment. If they were only Republicans, the news media would be calling them all kinds of names and and they would never recover from these faux pas that they have committed. But Claudine Gay is a woman of color and a left-wing Democrat, and therefore she enjoys the protections of the Democrat Party and the news media by extension, because really it's one and the same, isn't it? Yes, sir. That's your Democrat Party. Now, that's it for Joe Biden from yesterday, because he's all over the place. The surge in anti-Semitism. It's all Democrats, Joe. You should be talking to your voters, because every one of these people chanting from the river to the sea, all of them at Harvard, at MIT, at the University of Pennsylvania, in Times Square, at George Washington University, in Washington, D.C., they're all Democrats. All the raging anti-Semites are all your voters, Joe. And they, you can take a poll and they don't know what river and what sea, but that doesn't matter. They're still chanting from the river to the sea. And we had the George Washington University the other day having a big gathering in support of Hamas. And it was there were officials at the school in support of Hamas, which means in opposition to Israel, naturally. So there it is. Now, with that, let's take a phone call. We haven't gone to a phone call in quite some time, have we? Let's go to a telephone call and talk to the nice people. Let's go to Darren calling from Frederick, Maryland, where they just had a big fire today because the squatters set a house on fire, almost cooked themselves. Darren in Frederick, Maryland, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
I heard about that fire. I was looking for it, but I didn't see it, and I'm out west of there now. But listen, I just was wondering why you're talking the Kremlin talking points about Ukraine.
Tell me.
We delivered $20.2 billion to them in military equipment, and I think $46 billion in money. And Congress had authorized $68 billion. So we're still a couple billion under that. I just, Putin is an autocrat. He's a dictator. He's coming in there and he's killing people. Mm-hmm. He has a program of genocide. Uh-huh. If they surrender or if they quit or if they have a peace treaty with him, which you got to remember, every written agreement he's ever seen has been violated, either by him or by someone else. And so he just thinks that negotiations are that way. And if he signs a peace agreement, it's worthless. It's not even worth the paper it's written on.
Sure.
So I just don't understand it. And then you argue against or for Putin when you're talking about Ukraine, and then you talk against him when you talk against Hamas, because Hamas was in meetings with him before this attack, and he's probably connected to the attack on Israel.
Yes.
So
yes.
I'm waiting. I'm just waiting. And by the way, I'm a blue conservative. I'm a Reagan Republican. I don't know how the hell the Democrats foisted the red nomenclature on Republicans, but somehow they're doing it. So
yeah, I've been fighting against that. I've been fighting against that for years. The red blue thing, and I don't use. You may have not noticed, but I don't use red state, blue state. I talk Republican and Democrat. Now, I don't think
that's the first thing we have to fix, though. We have to get back to being blue Republicans again. And the left has to be labeled red, as they are in every country on the planet except the United States of America, and that's because the left got to choose colors. No, but wait, Darren. Still red.
I don't want to interrupt you, but oh gosh, I've run out the clock, haven't I? You suggested that I'm parroting Putin talking points. Now, I've got to say, I think if we're going to give another $61 billion, which is what's on the table right now, to Vladimir Zelensky, who's in Washington right now with a hat in hand asking for the $61 billion, I think that we need accountability on every dollar, and the Democrats are pounding the table saying, no, just shut up and give us the $61 billion. And the Secretary of State yesterday was, well, he was over the weekend, saying, I played the audio yesterday, saying, well, 90% of it comes right back to the United States in the form of money for the military-industrial complex, which means only $6.1 billion goes into the hands of the corrupt Ukrainian officials there. I'm talking about all these things, Darren. I don't know what Kremlin talking points I'm parroting, but I'm afraid I've run out my clock. Now, Kamala Harris was trying to give a speech yesterday. Was it about anti-Semitism? No, it wasn't. Did you see her husband, who's allegedly Jewish, posted a video explaining Hanukkah, and he got everything wrong? He got everything wrong about Hanukkah. It was comically wrong, just absurdly and comically wrong. But here is Kamala Harris. She was trying to give us, you know what, I once again, I need more time because I've only got about 50 seconds for this now, don't I? And I try to pack it all in. I'm going to have to save Kamala for after the news break here. But it's pretty great stuff because an elected Democrat in Delaware who is a Muslim woman, the first Muslim ever elected to the Delaware State House, decided to heckle the vice president of the United States of her own party, Kamala Harris, and to talk over and to make things up about Israel and the poor, long-suffering Palestinians who will cut your head off and bowl with it in the desert. But, those darn Jews are the bad guys. So we've got that coming right up. And Elise Stefanik straightening out the dim-witted Democrat member of Congress, Jamie Raskin, because Jamie Raskin attacked Elise Stefanik, his colleague, in a vile, vulgar, and obviously sexist way. And Elise Stefanik has responded beautifully.